어머, 전화가 잘 안 들려서 그래. 어머,
Well, this is a late episode. Welcome to the Ajumma show. Pause right here because we're going to take a second to spill some hot yujacha tea for our Patreons. If you're not a Patreon,
I gotta blow on it. It's so hot.
If you are not a Patreon member, consider joining patreon.com/Ajumma show. If you have the funds, if not, don't worry, take care of yourself. Or if you have funds, but there's only one place to donate it to the movement, defunding the police,
Yes.
Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
That's number one. But if you have a little extra, come check us out. Hear all about it.
Let's do it.
All right. Thanks for joining, everyone. As always, thank you so much for submitting your reviews. I know we read these reviews and, it's kind of like self-indulgent, but again, Eunji and I cannot do comedy. So when we read these reviews, our insides get warm. And this is the validation that we live for. So this review was submitted on April 7th, 2020. This is by Leanne, one of our favorites.
Yes.
Hi, Leanne.
Yeah.
It says, truly an honest and hilarious podcast. This is a little long, but I'm going to read the whole thing because it's beautiful. She says, I've been trying to write a review for months. It wasn't until I got on iTunes on a MacBook that I'm able to do so. Okay, brag. It wasn't easy trying to download their podcast standing on anthills to get cell signal, but it's worth it. Happy to support Eunji and Peter in this way, as well as recommending because I can't donate financially now. Heard. That's totally cool.
Yes.
She continues and said, I've been listening to Ajumma show every week for over a year. Living in a rural village in sub-Saharan Africa, I never see a Korean face nor eat Korean food. In town, people yell China at me, and it's so frustrating.
Oh my God.
Honestly, that happens in sub-Saharan Africa, but also happens in South
In
Central LA. Yeah.
It happens here. It happened to me yesterday.
Exactly. They just call us Chino and China.
Yeah.
She continues and says, but when I listen to the Ajumma show, I feel like I'm in the room with Eunji and Peter, and it's comforting to hear all things Korea. They make me laugh like a crazy person and to always embrace my weirdness. I feel proud to be Korean now more than ever. I now follow KAKs, Kick-Ass Koreans, and support the Korean community. Thank you for the laughs and staying in good spirits despite the tough times now. Also, please make merch of Jim Jilbang's shirt that says, how dare you, or truly. Great review.
That's a great idea.
Great idea. We'll consider it. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Yay.
Hey.
Have a review for us. Please submit it through iTunes or whatever you're listening to. We love reading them and we'll read it out loud.
Oh yeah. And we will remember you.
Yes.
And it does stuff to our insides. Okay. So update on the Sandra Oh issue.
Oh, tell us.
I'm sure TBD, jury's still out. The real Sandra Oh never stood up.
What the fuck? It's really killing me.
It's like kind of the most bizarre scam.
It did happen right before the George Floyd thing. So I'm really not pressed on finding out if this is actually Sandra Oh or not. But what the fuck? Why would you do this? Why would you write this letter to us? Sandra, why?
Why? Or so like if you're out marching and doing things for the movement, totally understand.
Totally
we respect you. We are excited about it. Yes. But if you're not, what the fuck?
What the fuck? Here's what I'll say. If you did scam, I want you to come forward. I'm not angry.
No.
We are not angry.
We
respect honesty and truth, and nothing you could say will hurt us.
No.
But if you come out and say, hey, I thought this was a fun joke, I would love to just interview you. Just to talk about like what was going through your head, because I am fascinated about how delicately you prepared this email.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with it. So if you are the scammer, and you're clearly a listener because you knew everything about us.
You did deep cuts. Yes. You also knew like the things that we would both like respond to.
Yes.
This is like such like a deep, like it's a deep fake.
Yeah, exactly. Eunji and I could be super mad about it and disappointed, but we're not. We're actually very flattered.
And impressed.
Super impressed. So please, if you'd like to, just hit us back from the context, you know, the Sandra Oh context.
Yes.
You don't have to say who you actually are, but just tell us what was going through your head. And I'd like to break it down because I'm so interested in what drives someone to kind of do this kind of low level catfishing.
Yeah, it's a low level cat. I mean, that's the thing is like, we respect a scam. We respect, there's nothing but respect, but there's like, you never asked us for money. You never, like what?
A nude.
If it was just for a joke, like, did you laugh? Are you laughing now? Like, was this your intent?
Are you not entertained? I hope you are, because we're entertained. And so
yeah.
No one thinks of us like that much. Even our spouses and our parents, for that matter, as you know. So we just really love you. We love you. This is like, it's like what's that thing, phenomena where you get kidnapped and you fall in love with them?
Stockholm.
It's just kind of like that. It's like, I'm starting to fall in love with you. Is this what you wanted?
Like, I'm obsessed with how obsessed you are.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have thank you to the new Patreon members.
Yay!
Yay!
Thank you.
Your swag is coming, so just be sure to update your mailing addresses. Thank you so much. And we're like at 27.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's insane.
Thank you so much.
Almost 30 people want to support us on a monthly basis. My heart is warmed. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And if it's one of you guys that scammed us, like this, like that would truly, we would both be in love with you.
Oh my God, I would love that. I would love if our scammer was a Patreon member.
Yes.
Because that just like, that's it for me. I love that. But to the new patrons, thank you so much. What does your money do? Your money is helping us get through this weird fucking pandemic revolution time. We are donating money from the money that we made from the live show. We've been donating, and it's going to places like our focus rights, our equipment, hosting services, like that shit all costs money. And we're just here spitting this out for free. So we hope you enjoy the free part, but also the patrons. What you're really doing is just helping us keep doing the damn thing. And it's 응원해주는 거야, like go fighting. So like more than the like swag and all that, which obviously you'll get. But,
and you also get some extra tea.
Ooh, yeah, this is the early access.
Mm-hmm.
But really, you're showing us support through your money, and we really are thankful. So thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay, let's go. Let's move on.
Yeah.
This is such a stupid question, but how's your week?
It's been really nuts. Really nuts. Like,
there's some stuff you can't talk about.
I can't really talk about, but like, the company we both work for has come under fire, and it's been an intense kind of thing where I've the thing is, like, I've always been a passive observer to like call out cancel culture. Like, and I will say that even as a passive observer, certainly has taken a sort of a lascivious delight in seeing, like, seeing other people fall, and not,
There's
just
a German word for that.
Schadenfreude. Yeah, like I just like a little bit of like, okay, like, like that bitch deserved it. I don't know about that guy. Like, oh, for sure that's a tragedy. But like, like I just, as a passive observer, but like being a part of it, it feels very different. I mean, you've gone through this with Second City, like being the focal point of like online scrutiny and like sort of like weird hatred, from people that do not know any sort of story about it.
Yeah.
How did you, like, you survived it. Barely, right?
Barely. I'm still paying for it. Um, I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that because this Second City, the hashtag Second City is over party or whatever has been trending. There's been a lot of discussion. The owner of Second City has stepped down.
Yes.
He wrote a long ass email. You read it, right?
Yeah.
I have
Where
so
he
many
calls
feelings about
out
that
your
email.
specific show.
He starts the email with, well, with the groundbreaking show, a red line runs through it. We realize that there is some racism within our own walls and we try to stamp it out, but we failed. I mean, you got to give it to the old man for like, keeping it real. But, I have my own thoughts about that. But because of that, the Chicago Magazine article that I wrote is resurfacing. And now people are like quoting it and talking about it and stuff like that. And because of him stepping down and promising to have a BIPOC person in there in charge instead, there's been this real uproar about like who it should be and how it should be run. And, our company that we work for right now is going through a very similar issue. It feels like every organization ever is being put to the stress test.
I mean, bon fucking teeth.
Like, this motherfucker, editor-in-chief of Bon Appetit stepped down.
Like, I got a fucking apology email from the place I get my recipes from. Like, like the bitches that tell me how to make a chicken are like, we're sorry for being racist. Like,
it's a reckoning.
It's a reckoning.
Yes, and this should be happening. The people, we are speaking truth to power, and the power structures are crumbling and they are falling. But everything's happening at once. It truly feels like a revolution.
Yes.
And it's scary and it's exciting. And, there's passion out there, but also there's fatigue. I'm so tired.
I'm so tired.
You guys must be so tired.
I was like, when all this shit was happening, I was like, oh, did we forget about the police? Are we just defunding comedy now? Is that what's happening? We forget about what's happening? Like, are we? That's still a thing, right? Like, I mean, and it's because Twitter is Twitter. Because it's like it's all those people are like looking in on themselves, and all of them like we're comedians, are comedians, want to be comedians, or like, it's like this is like it's a Ouroboros of like fucking shit and comedians and just constantly eating each other. And it's you said this to Jack, it was like the internet is not the world.
It's not. It's a very small portion of it.
Yes.
And it's where things are getting platforms and people are getting platforms, and we are signal boosting and stuff like that. And that's all great for it. But with that being said, it can really be traumatizing if all you do is just refresh your fucking feed.
Yes.
So what I did was I took 2 days and went into the woods to the Sequoia National Forest, did some mushrooms, and got my whole damn life.
Really?
I had, a spiritual moment and, some much needed healing. And lots of great laughs. And, just cooking outside is very healing too.
Yes.
But, you should take some time to rejuvenate yourself, all of you. And especially you, Eunji, because you not only deal with like our company going through that shit and the world, but you also have a family and you're raising a small human. Like, this is inconceivable to be having to go through all of this at the same time. Like, we're not meant for all of this at the same time. We're going to break. And if we break, no one's here to help us. Yeah. Like, no one's here to help me or you. All right.
Yeah. No one in my house would even sweep it up. I'd just be broken. Like, like no one, the Roomba might come and help me, but no one else.
No one else. Your son would just step over you. Be like, where's the crayon? There's mom again, drunk on the floor. With that hard kombucha.
Oh my God, that's so real. Wait, so when you did I love your like second, I mean, I kind of like see you becoming like like a psychedelic shamanic. You know what I mean? Like this is like a new vibe off of you, like in LA.
Yeah, I suppose it is new. You know, with the acid and the mushrooms, but it's you know, it's interesting. I was sitting in front of a tree and I was having a meditative moment, and all I could really envision.
Okay.
It was truly
Okay.
like Buddha status. You know what I mean? Just like having an elevated moment.
Yeah.
And all I heard in resounding was, you got to be a leader. You got to lead. That's what you know how to do. So stop trying to like push that away. So I don't know what that means in the short term or the long term.
Right.
In the long term, obviously it means lead, but I don't know. I've always like pushed that away. The call to lead. I've always pushed it away because I was scared. I'm scared to lead. I don't want
Also,
to be.
귀찮아. Like it's so much work.
진짜 귀찮아, right?
Yeah.
Like do it yourself. But you know, that's just my personality, and I do like to inspire people. I like to rouse them up, you know.
Yeah.
So like I don't know how I that's going to manifest, but I am more comfortable after this trip to stepping into a leadership role. And I think what that really means is, Eunji, like kind of going back to like our industry and stuff like that, like being an actor is the least important thing for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't, not only do I not enjoy it that much.
Yeah.
The actual act of acting, like I think it's fine, you know, when I'm hitting my grooves, but like the whole idea of struggling to act, begging for jobs, auditioning for roles.
I hate to beg.
I hate to beg. And
I do it all the time, but I don't like it.
I hate it. Yeah. And I don't know if it's necessarily pride is why I don't like it. It's just the inherent like unfairness of the power structure is too apparent to me to beg, you know, and I don't want to sit here and need anything from you. I want to be able to provide. So truly, when I started comedy, when I started acting in Chicago, remember you and I would like be trading lines, and you would like have this app that you showed me to like record your own lines back and forth.
Yes.
I remember that so specifically. It was afternoon at the new IO. We would walk in and sign up for that little, you know, and then just wait around and like really run through our lines. I remember that moment thinking, this ain't for me. But what is it? What is for me as a comedian, as someone with a voice and opinions? What does that mean if I'm not acting, if I'm not in entertainment and given the platform that actors are given or celebrities are given? Then how do I achieve that? And in my heart of hearts, I always knew that I should be producing. I should be the boss, hiring actors to do the work. And I fought it so much because I think I love comedy so much. Right. I didn't want to produce comedy anymore. It's not that I hate it. I'd rather just show up and be funny. But I'm realizing now that I have to really step into this leadership role of writing, producing, and giving opportunities to other people. I think that is my calling. And
you do it very intuitively. Like you started a fucking theater. Like, I don't know why you were like, they took you had to fucking meditate in front of a fucking tree to just look at your resume. What the fuck are you talking about? You started like 3 shows in Chicago that continue to this day. Like,
I don't want
what are you talking about? You started 2 in LA within the first 2. You were like, oh, I'm not getting on any shows. I'll just start. You like literally pulled it together.
No.
Like, what are you talking about?
I know, but
I thought you were gonna come. I thought you were gonna make me feel really profound, and I was like,
I guess it's profound.
You meditated in front of a tree to get to that? Okay.
But the difference is, it was begrudging as opposed to really
wholehearted. You're not going towards it with your whole heart.
The whole time I produce shows, or I create theaters or whatever, is because I want to do it. It's not because, and you know, also I don't have patience. So I can't wait for someone to tell me when to do what I want to do. I just want to fucking do it. Right. So that was the whole reason to. But now with this kind of spiritual awakening and healing, I'm accepting the role of leader as opposed to being like, I hate that no one wants me to do their shows and I have to do my own show. You know, like, I guess that's the tiny change. And I'm feeling more peace with that, as opposed to like looking around and being like, oh, what? Oh, who's getting that role? Oh, should I be up for that? I don't give a fuck. I'm making my own roles now. Yeah. So that's something I learned. Yes. So give yourselves a break, get some mushrooms, and get out there.
Get some mushrooms to realize stuff about yourself that everyone already knew.
I know. I should have just called you and be like, what do you think about this whole thing about me, like, I don't know, producing?
You'd be like, you're already doing it.
You're already doing it. We're
what's
doing a podcast.
Yeah. Like, what's the big deal?
Yes.
I'm surprised. Aren't you?
I don't know. I guess
every
there
time
is
you were
no
talking
big
about
deal.
Pitching stuff and you're developing things, you look at me and like in a hushed tone, it's like, you're like, I think this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Every time. And I'm like, yeah, you're good at it. And also like your impatience and all these things like already like fundamentally predispose you to being this way. Right? Like, and also
that's the thing.
Yes.
I think that's the thing I am now listening to and really accepting.
Yeah,
because the whole time that whole thing, I was like, I was trying to put it away. I was like, no, I don't want to be the guy to do it. I just want to be the guy that is invited. But what I'm realizing, I'm never going to be that guy. It's always
like,
going to
think of.
Yeah.
You're always going to be what?
I'm always going to be unhappy and upset about, even if I get like invited to something, I'm never going to be happy just being there. I'm going to want to run it differently, or like, you know, I'm not going to be completely happy with the way things are run unless I'm running it.
Right. You know, I think I'm realizing you're like, it's like if Berry Gordy wanted to be Smokey Robinson. You know, like you
That's so sad.
Okay, Diana Ross?
No. I mean, not that it's him. It's just the sadness of someone who is the person who is above the talent, who desperately wants to be the talent. It's like Puff Daddy.
Yes. Yeah. You want to be, if you want to be with a producer that won't be all in your video. I'm trying to think of the Source Award thing that Suge Knight said about Puff Daddy. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like the fame and like being in front of the limelight is a very seductive thing. Yeah. But also that fearlessness of all the things that you're describing also make you very funny, Peter. Like, I don't think you're ever going to not be a comedian.
Yeah. And I think because comedy has effectively crumbled as we know it, as what we knew it as, I think I'm now feeling a little more comfortable, like stepping into that boss role as opposed to like the infantry role, if you will.
I mean, comedy, #comedy is over. Is like
#comedy is over. Pardon. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to all of that. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right. Welcome back. Wow. It's been a crazy week for America, but it's also been an insane kind of like time for North Korea. We talk about North Korea a lot.
Well, there's like shit happening.
There's so much shit happening. But before
I feel like when we were young, there was nothing happening in North Korea.
Yeah, maybe we just heard less of it. We just heard less news overall. We like if something happened in North Korea, we would hear about it like 2 months later.
Yeah, because there was like took a carrier pigeon like that had be smuggled out to like give you deliver news.
Yeah, we grew up in the 1600s.
Yeah.
But so I was reading this article about what's going on recently in North Korea. So I just want to do a quick timeline of North Korea and the U.S. relations from just
Trump era specifically.
the
Yeah.
Trump era.
Specifically,
It's been a mess since day one, since
Yes.
Yu-Gi-Oh! And
Yeah.
the Korean War, obviously. But especially with Trump and Kim Jong-un, who are like same idiots.
Yes.
It's been a nonsense. So I'm just going to go
It's been a really perfect storm of like insane leaders and like relationships and also like this public bravura.
Yeah.
That like both of them like to exhibit, because like there's a guy in I think it's Turkmenistan, like he's nuts. Like he renamed the days of the week after himself and his family. Like, but he's not trying to be on the stage. He doesn't have the same swagger. And it's these two are very specifically like same, like you said.
Yes.
All right.
It's almost like I don't know if this is the right thing to say, but I'd almost rather have a stupid ass egomaniac be a dictator than a dictator with no swag. That's like even more embarrassing. You know what I mean? Like Assad, like, ugh, who wants that?
Look at like, really? You're gonna come out wearing that? Like, I mean, that's why I always say Gaddafi was one of my faves. Like, he always had some crazy,
like a big wraparound. No, that's not right. Anyway. This is a timeline of what I call the frenemy of the states. There's been a lot of back and forth. Yes. So let's start back in 2017 when we started this podcast because Trump was elected. We started February 2017. What happened was Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump, they started exchanging insults. This was the first time in recorded history that two leaders of a nation are name calling each other.
Yes.
So Trump calls him obviously Rocket Man, as we all remember, because of his nuclear weapons.
Yes.
And then Kim calls him a dotard.
A dotard. Dotard? 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 That's okay, too strong of a T.
Bad.
Yeah.
Is it dotard?
Dotard, yeah.
Oh shit. I remember
because that dotard makes it seem like not right.
That's not the right word. Dotarded. But I guess when I see a Trump, all I think is like, oh, this dotarded freak. But it's dotard, which I had to look up, is an old person, especially who has become physically weak or whose mental faculties have declined. Come on, you got to give that up to Kim Jong-un first round.
That's a ding ding. That's a Swiss education at work there.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Both come from, privileged backgrounds, but one is actually educated and the other one is a fool.
Yeah. Someone remembered his SAT word.
That's right. Now, a year later in 2018, they go to Singapore and have this summit and they fall immediately in love. They're like, oh my God, we love each other.
They shake hands, the whole thing. Yeah.
A good man, we're friends, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then they do that little fucking trot over the DMZ line with Moon Jae-in, which we were screaming about when that happened.
Yes.
And then after that, North Korea suspended tests on nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles that could reach the U.S. So that was the whole point, to stop your weapons, and then we'll start releasing sanctions, and basically North Korea is being starved out by the rest of the UN, except for China. So North Korea is looking for...
That's a big teat. That's a big teat to suckle at.
Yes,
there's
absolutely.
enough milk in there.
Yes. Yeah. So after that kind of like friendly show of like, yay, we can do this. And this was when Trump was like, oh, look at me. I'm the first president in history to like make all these advances with North Korea. Short few months later in 2019, they go to Vietnam and everything falls apart.
Right.
And all things halt. And there's been truly no advancement since. And there's been more slurs back and forth. And but at the same time, Trump is so infuriating because he so obviously is trying to say that, oh, look at me, I'm doing well. But it's a complete lie that no one believes. It's not like North Korea where like Kim Jong-un has complete control over the news and the media and blah, blah, like state media, like propaganda machines, like, and then the people must believe it because there's no other way. There's no other information, minus like the leaflets. Apparently South Korean, like people are or
Yeah, there's some
activists.
nonprofits that drop. Yeah,
They're
that's like
dropping
one of the things.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in 2020 now, on Thursday, North Korea criticized U.S. for commenting on their inter-Korean affairs because that leaflet thing and stuff.
Yes.
And North Korea, for the first time in
Shots.
yeah,
Exchange fire. Yeah.
exchange fire. We talked about that last week or 2 weeks ago. So there's been a lot happening, and then Trump's obviously running his fucking tiny mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then so North Korea said Washington should shut the fuck up, okay, if it wants the upcoming presidential election to go smoothly.
I didn't know that bit.
Now,
really?
I don't know what that fucking means. This is we're talking about two fucking idiot pigs just commenting on each other's nations. So a grain of salt with all of it, right?
Yeah.
But on Friday, the North Korean foreign minister said that Pyongyang will press on with the development of nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles because everything has stalled with the U.S. Trump has a few things to worry about right now. So as we speak, North Korea depends on China, its closest ally, and 90% of its trade is with China, 10% with other random countries.
Right.
And recently, Pyongyang has been super aggressive about its support for China's controversial issues, including Hong Kong and how they're treating it. So North Korea is like basically going, hey, this thing with the U.S. president, Trump, is not going to work. So I'm going full backing China. So great job, Trump. You've really fucked it up now. This like heavy nuclear power and seat in that region. And your only ally is South Korea, and you're fucking that one up too, because you're, as you have already heard, Trump has been yelling at South Korea to pay up more money to house U.S. troops there because we're protecting South Korea. Meanwhile, people in South Korea hate the troops. They're fucking up.
Some sort of crazy like sexual assault story. I've also bet like these like soldiers are really safe there because of COVID. Like they probably are they're like, it's much better, the opportunities, especially the barracks inside of most US places. I don't even know what the situation is there. Like they probably are safer in Korea.
Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely.
I mean, but this whole back and forth between Trump and North Korea to me is like just like a classic, it's like such a toxic relationship. And they're like one of those things where like they're both so fucked up they can't stay away from each other. You know, you've had these relationships, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like it's so bad.
Yeah.
But you're like bad in the same ways, and it's like the fact that both of you are bad in the same way give you permission to be even worse.
Yeah.
Because
and you lose all your friends because your friends don't want to hang out with your asses anymore. Because you make it awkward during Christmas parties. Okay? Do you know those friends that are coupled off and you know they're not good for each other?
Yeah, you want it to end. For both of their sakes.
But they're both fucked up in the same way. So they keep edifying each other's, weaknesses. Yes. But my friend Benda and I were talking about this. Like, there are some people that they do that, and then you want to be like, you guys should break up. Like, stop, and then there are some people who are self-contained messes within the couple, and it doesn't leak out to the rest.
No.
So you just kind of go, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Like somehow this makes sense for you.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
What this is.
That's what this is. As citizens of each country's, like, obviously we don't want it to happen, but like in a macro level, you're just like, you deserve each other.
Yeah. Like, as long as because the thing about it is we'll see what happens, because this is the thing. No other American president has been fucked up in this way and been willing to engage. Yeah. And then Trump was elected and it was just like, it was like a diplomatic hate love at first sight. Yeah. Like just from the fact that they were even able to engage, because that's the thing. That's what most of these security analysts were like, you can't fucking engage. And he was like, watch me. And,
yeah.
And North Korea's just like, oh my God, he's paying attention to me. Like, he's sending messages. He's my DMs. Like
Yeah.
he's showing up. It's like
He's apologizing. He really
yes,
means it. This
he-
one's different.
yeah, he called me a rocket man, but also he thinks I'm great. Like
Yeah.
he's holding my hand. Um,
Two of the smallest hands in history.
it's like you're right. Like his mouth, like everything about him is big, but all of the features are small. Like it's like
You're talking about Trump or Kim Jong-un?
yeah, both.
Both. Yes. They're so bloated, fat. Like they're okay. So I've been watching a lot of videos on the French Revolution lately.
Why?
Because what happened in the French Revolution is clearly what's happening right now.
Yes.
It's a bloated 1% who are out here lavishly living, being completely blind and deaf to what the most of the country and the populace is going through. And, this is like an old thing, but like anytime any country is going through like breadline issues, there's a revolution happening. It's coming. And this current revolution of like, quote, racial injustice or, Black Lives Matter is, yes, important. But what we have to really understand is that this is a cycle of class oppression. And it just so happens that Black people, African Americans, were the original sin of America is slavery. And it might feel like, oh, you're oppressing these people because you hate their skin. Yes, that is literally what's happening. But also, we needed a class to build our country.
Yes.
And no one wearing a powdered wig or living in a fucking log cabin, you know what I mean, in the 13 colonies was about to do the work to make this country rich, right? So every nation ever, every empire ever has slave labor or some kind of underclass labor that feeds the upper class. And it's been like that since the dawn of civilization.
Yeah. I mean, the slave trade is literally the beginning of capitalism.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's capital, human capital. That is
capital.
What started, yes.
Right.
And that it's only off the backs. And the thing is, every hierarchy, there's a bottom. There's someone at the bottom. Every hierarchy requires it. And so what we're seeing is this, like the upheaval is like the people on the bottom are like, oh no, I'm done. And they're getting up.
Yeah, they're revolting. They're picking up their proverbial pitchforks and because they're starving. And we might not be, some of us are literally starving.
Yes.
But a lot of us are metaphorically starving. And we look and we are, and we talked about Cornel West last week, but he has this really great speech about like, it's not just about racial issues. It's not just about class. It's also how we view money and how we look at material things. And we're constantly being shown, quote, the American dream. And I'm part of it too. Like Housewives, I watch Housewives. I watched an hour of Architectural Digest videos yesterday on mega mansions. You know what I mean? Like, I'm part of the problem.
I get it. I am part of the problem as well. I mean, I'm living in lotion.
Luxury.
Yeah, I'm literally drowning in lotion.
Yeah, exactly. Your face is chok chok. So
I described a couple of donations I made as 3 lotions. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. So that goes me to say, and we're not going to solve it in 1 hour podcast, but I just want to leave the segment with just this one thought is if humanity has always needed a working class, right? A subjugated class so that we may eat well, we may sing, we may paint, sculpt. You cannot have art without oppression. You know what I mean? Like we must be oppressed in order to create art. Okay, so let's just say if we always need this, what if the next iteration of this post-revolution is not human capital, but it's machine capital? I'm not saying enslaving robots, but isn't it already happening? And we said that like the robots will replace us, But what if they do replace us? What if robots replaced, quote, the underclass or the lower socioeconomic class that does all the work that we don't want to do? Is this a possible utopian goal?
I mean, if so, you want to subjugate. Let me just say, I want to be the first to say it here to our robot overlords. I reject this assertion. I reject this assertion, and I welcome your control.
Right.
And I am.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Cover your ground. I know what I'm saying is very like Asimov, very like, the singularity. Once the robots become sentient, they will revolt on us. But I think humanity needs a little break, and we clearly need someone to oppress or something to oppress in order to live in luxury. So can we redistribute the wealth and all live in luxury and have the robots work for us? I'm just gonna put it out there.
Okay. All right, mushrooms.
Stupid.
Okay, well, let's take a quick break and then I'll be back.
All right. See. Shall we get back to it?
Yeah.
Okay, we're back with Kick-Ass Koreans, y'all.
Yeah!
All right, who do you got this week?
I have, her name is Eunji. She's American-born South Korean rapper and singer. She was born Natasha Shanta Reed. She's she's half Black. She was born in Fort Hood, Texas, to a Korean mom and a Black dad. Her dad was like a radio DJ in the military. Wow. And you guys have to see her. Look her up right now, Peter. Eunji.
I know this name.
Yes.
Eunji.
She's currently a member of the Korean hip hop trio MFBTY.
Oh, yeah. I've seen her.
Mm-hmm. She lives in Korea now, and she's half Black.
Cool.
Yes. So she is like she's older. She's like, but already gone through the K-pop thing. She's like my age.
She was like first gen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she lives in Korea. She's like a very kind of a famous like celebrity, whatever.
Personality.
Yes. And she got married to this Korean guy named Tiger JK in a Buddhist temple. Yes, in a Buddhist temple in 2007. And she gave birth to their son March 2008. But this is the thing. They appeared in 2011 in a photo shoot with their son. They're like anti-child abuse people, but really the idea that she's been promoting, and she's been a huge part of it, is that she wants to promote awareness about multiculturalism within Korean families, right? Whoa. So like she and her husband, and the fact that she's half Black, like there's so much about Korea is so homogenous ethnically that some of the racism is so blatant. Yeah. And like really deeply embedded, not only within the colorism that exists in all Asian culture, but like in particular, Koreans are very xenophobic, and they're like, there's this idea that even inside of our families, like people are trying to be more tolerant about like even foreigners in their place, but the idea of families changing, that's how your own family can look different than you, is like this idea that she's trying to propagate. So good on her. And also, like, it's also just like crazy to see someone that you forget like what iterations of like biracial looks like. Like she looks really Korean to me.
Yeah, she does. She kind of looks like Hyori.
Yes.
Yeah.
But her dad is Black. Like that's what it is. Like, and I've even seen in the same family people that are biracial, like that look radically different. Like I know some families who's like their brother looks really, really white, like it's white passing, even though he's half Asian, and his sister literally looks 100% Chinese. Like it's crazy. Like it's like, and that's what I mean. It's just like this idea as we move forward and we go towards a singularity and we enslave robots, that even our people, that our people are, like what pan this like pansexual, like whatever kind of human race emerges out of this, it will just all be, it won't matter. So it was just cool.
That's awesome. Very cool. All right. So my kick-ass Korean, I don't have a last name for this person. I've been looking. Her name is Isabel.
She's so good.
She went through like a viral thing
Yes.
that was posted by KRC LA, Korean Resource Center LA.
Mm-hmm.
So look them up. It's on their feed. This Ajumma, this Korean Ajumma, was out on the protest, and she was perfectly talking about how Korean Americans specifically should be standing up and fighting next to our Black brothers and sisters, our POC, other POCs, because how could you not understand their struggle when we ran from a country? We are immigrants here because we left a country that was unfairly colonized, and we were subjugated, and our culture was being exterminated. So how could you not stand here and fight? Because if you're here, that means you went through the same thing. And the fact that you're here doesn't mean that you're here because of you. You're here because of the struggle of Black people before you. If there was no civil rights, we wouldn't be here. Okay. So, I mean, we might be here, but we just, we'll be clanking on a railroad somewhere, and it was so beautiful. I can't even do it justice because she does a very like beautiful Konglish.
Yes. Seamless back and forth.
Yes.
And it's like you, that to me is such a beautiful testament to like how Ajumma is at this point. Age is not an excuse.
Age is not an excuse.
You can't be like, Ajumma's like, she knew better. And she also is like this seamless back and forth. It's like so much of our experience with our own parents, most like first and second generation kids, like that her Konglish her Korean was so cute. And even the words that she was choosing to pick from English were so cute. I mean, also her masks, I think she had I Can't Breathe on her mask, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was so good. I cried
too. And I just want to mention this, that like there's a lot of Asian trolls, especially men, on like the Reddits and all that. And there's a lot of this like going back and forth from like, oh, these fucking woke SJWs saying that our struggle is nothing compared to the Black struggle. Fuck you. What privilege? We don't have any privilege. Listen, if you know Asians that are talking like that, you really have to let them know that there is simply a cultural privilege that we have, that we don't strike fear into people and make them kill us.
Yes.
It might be a more insidious, slow fear of the yellow peril, but the immediacy of how we are scared of Black men is there's no comparison. So
yeah, I mean, we benefit greatly from being considered white adjacent. I mean, we benefit from it.
Yes.
Yeah,
and it's time that our Asian, especially Korean brothers and sisters really like understood that and stopped playing victim for just a second. For just a second, you can go back to your victimhood, but for a second, let's kind of zoom out and think about this whole thing as one organism. You are lucky. We are lucky to be doing this. So that means we should be paying it forward so that we could be protecting everyone, because it's all, all boats and rising tides. And it's not about you versus me versus him versus her. That's the whole issue with Hollywood and diversity. And it's like all of us fighting for the same thing and fighting each other for that one role. That's not what this is about, and it's the same thing as like how Asians, there are people out there who are like, oh, if I should be the only Asian here. I got the Asian role. There could be multiple. There ought to be multiple. Okay.
Wait, what is that? What is the instead of Gyeongju-byung? Is there a Prince Byung?
Wangjabyung.
Wangjabyung. Yeah. Like that's what this is. They want their mother to come and bring them some fruit while they study for the LSAT. It's like, what the fuck are you talking? I mean, like, that's your privilege. Like, you can't recognize that. Like, that you need to continually be at the center of your own sort of narrative about, like, the Suffer Olympics. It's just like,
it's the same thing that like poor white people
take stock.
Yeah, take stock and
Yes.
really
Take stock and like think about it.
Yeah.
Go fucking meditate in front of a tree. You should take those mushrooms.
Exactly. All right. Well, that's our show for this week. Thank you so much for listening. Please donate where you can. Please keep up the good fight, protest, anything you can do. It takes a village. It takes a country, you know? So it's not just, let's not get tired out. Let's not be flash in the pan. We still have a lot of work to do until November. Let's flip this motherfucking house. Love you guys.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Love you. Bye.